Welcome, track and field fans. The men's 1500, the race we've been talking a little bit about over the last year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Just like I've been predicted, it's over. Yared Nuguse is not medaled. Josh Kerr is not medaled. Cole Hocker is not medaled. Jakob Ingebrigtsen is not medaled.
Niels Laros is not medaled.
Your champion, Nader of Portugal. Thrilling race. Wins it by 0.02 as the storybook for Jake Wightman comes up oh so close. Reynold Chariot gets the bronze. Timothy Chariot gets fourth. Laros, I believe, was fifth. Josh Kerr pulls up injured. A wild one. Absolutely wild. We'll probably spend the majority, to be honest, we're going to be spending the majority of the show talking about that one. It was unreal. We also had the women's 1500.
Women's steeplechase, and that was won by Faith Cheritich over Winfried Yavi. That one was also a crazy race. It just seemed like almost everyone ran out of gas. Ruth Chimitai took it out close to world record pace. She ends up stumbling and then falling with a K to go. I think it just took her out of her. Took it out of her, the hot pace. It was the hottest night so far we've had in Tokyo, mid 80s. Dew point was 76, just really miserable running conditions. And then we had Nora Gerudo, the 2022 world champion, who was briefly suspended. Looked like she might be coming back, and then she fades really badly. Winfried Yavi takes the lead. She's a big kicker. She's been running really well this year, two-time defending champion between the Olympics and Worlds. She runs out of steam as well. Just a wild race there. Faith Cheritich is your winner. But let's go to this 1500 because I think it's going to take us some time to process this outcome. Because there are still a few things I don't really understand. What I do understand is Isaac Nader's last 100 was unreal. 12:28, 0.4 of a second faster than everyone else. He was fifth with 100 to go. And I wasn't looking at this guy until 50 meters, and then suddenly it's like he rejoins him as kind of like Cooper Luckenhouse at USA's in the 800. Like he's back in that towards the back of the main group, and then suddenly, oh my God, he might win this thing. Like I think during the home straight, I yelled out 3 different guys were going to win. I said, oh, Wightman's going to win. And I said, oh, Reynold's going to win. I said, oh my God, Nader's going to win. It was nuts. It was an awesome race.
So if you're on the West Coast, you may not have gotten up at 6:20. Come on, if you're a track and field fan, hopefully you saw it live. But we were wondering, how this one would go, and there was no Jakob Ingebrigtsen. If he was in it, it would be pretty obvious. At least the last 3 or 4 years, what was going to happen? It would be a time trial. And we had a Let'sRun.com. By the way, if you're just joining us, this is a special live edition of Let'sRun.com Track Talk podcast. We have one podcast every week. At Worlds, we go every single day for our Supporters Club members. If you want this ad-free podcast, join the Supporters Club today. You get a bonus podcast every week. All access to all of our content, all of our articles. Let'sRun.com/subscribe. We had a meetup for Supporters Club members here tonight in Tokyo. Mr. and Mrs. Laros, Niels Laros' parents were there. And Weldon asked Mr. Laros, what do you think the race will be won in? And he nailed it. He said 3:34. And, that's what we had. And I was wondering, I was talking to Niels' mom, and I said, I was talking to Niels' mom, and I was like, the fact that we don't have Jakob, that makes me nervous. Like, how are his tactics? She's like, oh, he's generally pretty good tactically. So, I would say the same is true about Cole Hocker, and that's an attribute. I know he got to DQ, but you got to sometimes be willing to put your arm out. You got to be willing to thread the needle. And I've always thought in the 1500 that the best place is either the front or the back. And as we were waiting for this one to get underway, there was a lot of dead time today. I mean, the 200 semis, the meet really, all the action, the finals on the track were in the last 20 minutes of the meet. I was talking to a journalist downstairs, and I said, what do you think is going to happen? He's like, ever since I saw Laros close a junior race in 51, I've been just waiting for him to get strong enough. I think he's going to run away with this. He's like, and I think he's going to sweep the 5K. He's like, one of the best things to bet on is the young star going up to the 5K. People don't see it. El Garouche did it. Jakob did it, etc. And anyways, you don't know how it's going to work out. I always say get in the front or the back. Otherwise, you have to run a lot of extra distance. and the gun goes off. The first 200 was about a 28. Laros goes to the front, and then it slowed down. And, they basically were running a 60-61 pace because it was 59 at the 400. Or,
59, 159 at 800.
They were 145 for the first 700. And then they Timothy Chariot went to the lead. They're training partners, Laros and Chariot. And the next lap was a 56 to get to the bell. So he picks it up. But I thought, well, this is perfect for Laros. He's been in the front. He's been in lane 1 the whole way. But we're still going to have a barn burner of a last lap. And right before 200 to go, Wightman comes by. And I was splitting it on my watch. I saw 26. And I was like, okay, that's super fast. I think this is good. You let him go. You let him shoot his fire his shot. And you can respond to that. And we got to 100 meters to go. And actually, I ran into the same journalist who told me after the race, he's like, well, I think Laros is going to crush these guys. He's like, I thought the same thing with 100 meters to go. He's like, I thought the ducks were lined up. All you got to do, then the barrels, just shoot them. Is that the fish are in the barrel? What's the phrase, John?
Yeah, you have your ducks in a row, you shoot fish in a barrel.
Yeah, well, maybe we got them mixed up. But it reminded me in some ways of the Tim Hins 10,000 with Grant Fisher. Like Fisher told Weldon, hey, I was exactly where I wanted to be with 100 to go, and I just didn't have it. The same thing is true with Niels Laros. Like we've had this kick that's just been dominating the last 100, the pre-classic, the Diamond League final. It wasn't there. And not only does he not win, he doesn't medal. And, it was a super fast last 200, 25-4 for the leader to leader. We went back and timed Isaac Nader 25-1 in the last 200. That might have been a little bit off, so maybe 25-2 or 25-3, but super impressive. He's just got a sick kick. So I had him in 51-2 for the last 400. So 51-2 and then like 25-2 or 25-3 for the last 200. John, if you share that link with me, email me that link. We're going to show you something that from Isaac Nader where he's shown this ability before.
Well, he has shown he had a really great close in a race earlier this season, which we'll show you in a minute. But come on now, no one saw this coming. His last result before the World Championships, he was 10th in the Diamond League final in Zurich. His best finish so he won the Dream Mile in Oslo back in June. Didn't have the greatest field in that one, but he did beat Cam Myers, so that's one win. He was second in Ostrava behind Fanuel Koech, third in London behind Koech and Kerr, fourth in Brussels, 10th in Zurich, his last 2 races before the World Championships. Now, he had run 143.86 in 800 in Guadalajara, Spain in June, where he won by like a second and a half or something. He kind of demolished the field. So that's good. But he's 26 years old, and his previous championships, it very much fits the mold of the distance champions we've seen before in this meet. Jordy Beamish won final in his life in an outdoor global championships. He was 5th in 2023 in the steeplechase. Jimmy Gressier, never higher than 9th in 4 previous global finals, had never even medaled at Europeans on the track. Isaac Nader won final before in his life globally. That was the 1500 in Budapest in 2023. He was 12th. He was an Olympic semifinalist last year, but didn't make the final. And even at the European level, last year, these were his championship results last year. 4th World Indoors, 10th European Championships in the 1500, semifinals at the Olympics. This year, 3rd European Indoors, 4th World Indoors, 1st World Outdoors. We said leading up to this that if it does go slow, I would have still picked Laros to win the way he was closing those Diamond Leagues. And if he did close like he closed those Diamond Leagues, maybe he does win. But if you let it go slow, you open the door for some people we could have never expected. I still didn't think this guy would win it, but it's crazy. Like, just given his history, it's kind of nuts that he's the world champion now.
We're 10 minutes in. I have not spoken, or we've not mentioned the word of Jakob Ingebrigtsen.
We mentioned Jakob at the start. We said he's not here. You want us to talk about a guy who wasn't in the race?
I
probably
think
should.
you got to tip your hat to Jakob. He changed this event so long, and this race was radically different without him in it. What have we had since, 20? Well, I guess you can go back to Timothy Chariot, peak Timothy Chariot as well. But we got used to these things being won in under 3:30. And we forgot what a 3:34 race is. It's a lot more wide open. Yeah, I was wondering, like, beforehand, people were like, what do you think is he won in? I was like, I kind of was thinking, I was like 3:34. I was kind of wondering right around there. And none of these races were going that fast. Then I said, well, 3:32, because like I think that's what Laros needs to win. But then his dad's like 3:34. He's got all the tools, and that's what he just didn't have it. He made no excuses, and I don't know. But like afterwards, Isaac Nader said, not having Jakob. And he didn't mention, this interview was in Portuguese, but he didn't mention Jake's name. He didn't mention the other guys in the race, but he mentioned Jakob and Yared. Not having Jakob and not having maybe Yared in this type of competition opened the race a lot. And he said the same thing. Since 2019, when Chariot won with 3:28, all the races have been under 3:30. So it's just a completely different thing, I think, with this type of race. And I think they probably are more unpredictable. And I think this way it shows. Well, how do you guys want to put it? Is the 1500 the easiest event to win at the World Championships or the hardest?
What do you mean? I think it's the hardest.
Well, 6 different people have won it, so you could say in some ways,
I think
it's more open for different people to win. It's the hardest to win, I think, if you're the favorite.
It's hard because, like, if you're a 10K guy. If you're like the best kick, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's just hard. It's a harder event to dominate. I think I would say that you probably need to be a bit more well-rounded. Maybe in this era, just because you don't know what the races are going to be like. I mean, we used to know going into this meet, we knew what the skill set you needed to be able to do was, right? It was run 3:28, 3:29, I guess 3:27 last year, but have the strength to be there, and then also have a bit of ability to change gears and kick off a fast pace. That was what it took to win the gold medal since 2021. This year, that skill set, Laros clearly showed it multiple times that he had it. It didn't help him. Now, you could say maybe it's just an off day, but I don't know. It's just I think it's different. It's a different kind of race, and we got a different kind of champion.
One thing that I guess, and some, I mean, let's be honest, Nader wasn't winning on the circuit. He did enter this field, though. Look, the big guns, the quote unquote big guns, they weren't in it. We really thought coming in that this was like we had 4 studs in the medalists coming into the year, right? We had the 3 medalists from last year.
And Jakob,
and then Laros. And in the final today, we had no Hocker, we had no Nuguse. We ended up having no Kerr. He pulled up injured. So all we had was Laros. And at the time, it was stunning that he got outkicked. But what is this theme of this race? Of what we're seeing in this world is, on the men's side, is, look, this is not the Diamond League. It's not rabbited. It's completely different. And I'm surprised. We thought Laros' kick was going to be unbeatable. It's unbeatable off of a somewhat fast pace in the Diamond League. We don't know. We don't know what it will be in these 3:34 type races. And should we be that shocked that Nader won? This is obviously looking back at it. But a guy with the second fastest seasonal time, best time in the field at 3:21, the national record holder, who has 1:43 speed. Like, what I've been saying about Laros is, look, he's significantly faster than Kerr. He's significantly faster than Nuguse. He's significantly faster than Ingebrigtsen. I'm not sure. He's certainly significantly faster than Cole Hocker 800. I'm not sure that he has a significantly better kick than Cole Hocker, but
he has faster PBs, is what you're saying. A faster PB.
What do you mean? John doesn't put any stock into the Grand Slam track, but we saw these guys repeatedly try to run fast 800s. And they couldn't come, John, and they couldn't come close. They weren't even close to what Niels Laros did when he was doing an 800 5,000 double at the European Juniors.
We saw them repeatedly run 800 meters very early in the season
and come nowhere close to what Laros can do it in.
Well, they came close. Yared Nuguse ran 144. I mean, he wasn't 144.1, but you put them. Look, Laros was running these races in July.
Look, we saw Laros's kick at pre compared to Nuguse. It looked like Nuguse was standing still. So I thought that Laros was going to gun this field down particularly. But look, Nader has a sick kick, and we'll take a look at this video from earlier in the year. If I can get this to pop up on the screen. So just 1 second here.
I mean, I'll give you this, Robert. Wightman, he's got significantly better 800 speed than those guys, because I've seen him run 800s at like series championships. He's run 143. You know, this other case, again, last year, I feel like all the top three in Paris probably could have run 143 if they run an 800 on that day. But yeah, Nader, I mean, running 143 when the second place is 145,
okay,
that's no
what
joke.
You're seeing here is the European Team Championships. John, who's the guy in second?
This is June 29th. That's Stefan Nielsen of the Netherlands, who's an Olympic 1500 finalist last year. And Nader's going to pull away from him here and make it look like he's standing still.
He's got 5 to 10
meters. He starts
celebrating
with 90 meters to go, pumping up the crowd.
It looks like he's jogging. He's pumping the crowd. For those of you listening to the podcast, Supporters Club members, he wins by close to 10 meters. And John, what was the final 200 there?
That was 25:48, according to the splits.
25:48 in a 3:36 race. So,
3:39 race.
Oh, yeah, it's championship. So a 3:39 race, he closes in 25:6.
25:4, and he was showboating for half of it.
So we shouldn't be shocked that he closed today in a 25:1. I don't want to show the video from today's race. I don't want to get a copyright claim. But one thing that I think that I was worried, my only concern really going in, particularly once Kerr, I thought this was going to be a two-person race, Kerr or Laros, and my only concern was, though, a lot of times when you're running for gold and expected to get gold, you run a different race. You got to run extra ground. You got to be a little bit safer. I mean, Cole Hocker certainly isn't safe sometimes. He'll just take risks. But you take chances that you don't have to. Laros really did not run any extra ground. He did lead. And again, the journalist that was predicting him to wipe up everyone was like, I don't know why he led. He never leads. Look, he told Weldon afterwards, he's like, it wasn't a big deal. We weren't running that fast. So he led for what, 700 at 59 second pace. That's not a big deal.
Yeah, I don't think that really made a difference.
But if you look at Nader, he ran like the first lap and a half, kind of on the outside of lane one, in the middle of the pack, and then he got on the inside and he just stayed there. And if he was one of the favorites, and let's say he was a Brit and they're on the BBC, or he's American, the announcers, Kerr or whatever, they would have been freaking out where he was positioned. Like at the bell, he's on the inside, totally boxed at 8th or 9th. And one of my mantras is, like, it always opens up. Coming off the turn, I believe he was 100 meters to go, totally boxed in, 5th or 6th. But he never tried to get out. He just saved the ground and trusted, I'm going to go wide. He went out into lane 3, and the last 100 was absolutely magical. So I don't think in the future he would have, if he's won and thinking I got to win again, he would be that crazy to be that far back in that box. But it does show you, if you're an up-and-coming runner, maybe you shouldn't panic. You just wait. And if you've got it in the wheels, normally you're going to find it. You know, we saw Beamish, got him at the line. We saw Nader, got him at the line. I mean, like, we saw Gressier, got him at the line, right? I mean, so far, all three finals have been very similar.
Yeah.
Beamish would have won this race. I mean, this is the type of race.
Well, speaking of Beamish,
that was a similar close to this.
We did have an interesting result here. Robert Farkin, the OAC athlete, he's from Germany, but he trains in the OAC here in the U.S. And he was the one that sort of got, I mean, not it wasn't really his doing, but he was fouled in the prelims, in the semis, and initially told the media, like, look, I don't think it impacted me. I was already going backwards. Then he watched the tape, and like the moment he was hit was the moment he went back. He's like, maybe it did impact me. Well, I guess you can't, some people say this is unfair to judge it, but he finished 6th in the finals today. And I have a long interview. It's up on YouTube. Check it out at letsrun.com on YouTube. I said, do you think this sort of validates you being in the final and proves? He said, well, I ran pretty darn well. And yeah, he's like, at the time I thought I was moving backwards, but I watched the tape. It's hard to argue that it didn't impact me. So I'm very proud of this performance. So good for him. And I did ask him about Jordy Beamish. I said, like, what's it like having him in the group? Do you think he would have, who's got the better kick? And, would he have won this race? And he didn't directly answer. He's like, I'll tell you this much. I'm pleased that he was in the steeplechase and not in this one. And moving forward, honestly, like, could Beamish come back to the 1500? Or and
no, because I think Yared Nuguse will be in there pushing the pace. I don't know if you're going to have these 3:34 races. It is very interesting because Laros had this comment after the race. They said, this is what you expected. He said, we knew it would be slow. Let me find the quote here. We knew it wouldn't be like that. Of course, it might have been beneficial for me for it to be faster. But yeah, to pace that kind of pace is suicide. So we just executed the race how it was. And I think I didn't make a lot of mistakes.
He didn't make any mistakes. And look, guys.
I think it was pretty flawless, close to perfect, he said. I mean, like, he made no excuses. He just said, maybe we should play some of this clip, but he's like, I was very disappointed. I came here with a thought that I could medal or win gold. I was really confident to walk away with this. This is a bit of a bummer.
Yeah, I think.
And he executed perfectly. And we have not sung the praises of the guy who I think we should almost after the winner sing even more praise, or as the same amount of praises to, and that's Jake Wightman, because that was so damn inspirational and such a surprise. And what he's been through, like, my gosh, it was amazing. And he executed a flawless race too. Like you can run a really good race, execute perfectly, and still lose or come out on the top or come out second. So
yeah, about Laros, the only thing I would wonder is, did they mistime the peak by 2 or 3 weeks?
No,
I'm just saying. I don't know for sure. Laros said he thought his training, everything, he thought everything was, his preparation was great, but the shot, he didn't quite. His last 100 was not as good as it was in Zurich or Brussels. Granted, the last 200 meters that preceded that were a lot faster today. So maybe that's just a different skill sets that's being tested.
He trained with Timothy. I just don't think he didn't have a good finish. He's better than Timothy Jared. But they train together. I'm sure he cleans his clock in practice most of the time. He just didn't have it.
Right, and then you got to wonder why didn't he have it?
But he does the same workouts as Timothy. Maybe you could say he shouldn't have run didn't he run 2 diamond leagues right before this? When it doesn't go well, you're going to think, oh, it's stupid to run both races. When it does go well, it's fine. Right. But as a coach, I used to always drive me nuts. Like, your peak, come on. It's not a 2-week peak. You can be in great fitness for 3 to 4 weeks longer. It's not like you peak. It's not like you peak on a Thursday, the next Monday you're screwed.
But we're not talking about that. We are talking about 3 or 4 weeks. The Diamond League final was on August 28th. So, okay, it's 3 weeks. Today's September 17th. But
Jeff Torrenson with a comment of the day on YouTube. Nader was just the next guy. And Brian Weinstein, the next guy makes even more sense now. It's a different winner every year, and that's what makes this event, so much fun. But, if we talk a little bit about Nader, it's not clear to me. He trains in Spain. We'll have to do some research on this. If he has the same coach as Fermin Cacho, when I was in the press area, they're like, "This is Fermin Cacho's coach. Do you coach Nader?" He's like, "No." And then a press guy from them said, "Yeah, he's got the same coach as Fermin Cacho, who won the Olympics back in the day." So I don't. At first they told me no, and then someone told me yes. But that's interesting, and I think that Jake Wightman did have some amazing, like we talked about. Like, Nader's fast, and he's run 143. He goes first in tactical race. Wightman also is a 143 guy. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. And
the top 2 guys with the correct me if I'm wrong. tactical race, the top two guys are guys that have run under 330 who also have 143 speed. And, excuse me, have run a 143 PB. John thinks that everyone can run 143. They just haven't done it. And
Jonah Koech has run 143 and he was 13th tonight.
He's been injured all season. So
he won USA's.
And he hasn't trained since. I knew Jonah Koech after the semis was going to be a non-factor, and he was totally a non-factor in this race. But it's not that wild. Nobody would have been predicting this. I wish I had thought ahead of time and thought, okay, I did think coming in, okay, Wightman can do some damage here because it's going to be slow and tactical. And that's what he talked about. He's like, look, I had knee surgery. I've just been hurt all the time. I had to cut ties with my dad. But he's like, he told Jonathan, he's like, I'm only training 40
or 50 miles a week, which for a world-class 1,500 meter runner is stunning to me. But he's 31 years old. He's the oldest man to medal in a global 1,500 final since Marcin Lewandowski in Doha in 2019. And he just said, look, I've been training for a long time now as a professional, and I think he's a believer in sort of that stuff doesn't go away, and I need to stay healthy. And he's backed off some of the intensity of his workouts because under his dad, who was his previous coach, he felt like they would hit some sessions really hard, but that was also probably what was causing some of these injuries. So they backed off the intensity a bit more tempo work, a lot of cross training, and it's kept him healthy. And he moved to Manchester at the start, at the end of last year to be close to his physio. And then you get to February, he's supposed to run the New Balance Indoor Grand Prix. The day before the meet, he's warming up and his knee, he feels an injury there. And he's like, I can't run the meet. And he said that was really the inciting incident for him to part ways with his dad as coach, because he's like, look, I've rearranged my whole life. I've moved to Manchester specifically to be near my physio, to be healthy, and I'm still not healthy. I need to change something else. So he had meniscus surgery. Meniscus surgery in February. He changes coach. He starts working with his fiance's dad, who had previously been assisting Jeff, his father, and like I said, made some changes to the training. And it's kind of a team. He said his fiance kind of goes to bat and provides feedback. I think previously under his dad, I think maybe he was a little hesitant to give feedback about exactly how he was feeling and saying, hey, this might have been too hard. Now he said when they're deciding what sort of stuff to do, she kind of acts as his proxy. It goes to bat for him for some stuff.
John, you know the dynamic between them? I thought it was fascinating. He used to be coached by his dad. Now he's coached by his fiance's dad. I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah, I think essentially, though, he saw the writing on the wall that if he stayed with his dad and he kept getting injured like he has the last 3 years, they were going to have a falling out. He was going to be pissed off because his career, he's not able to, he missed the World Championships in 2023, didn't get to defend his title. And he missed the Olympics in 2024 when he was coming around and thinking he was in good shape, and then gets injured right before the Olympics. And, now he's basically like, if I don't leave my dad, I think, this relationship is going to get ruined by how our training and stuff's going. So they hugged in the mix zone. It was great. Jeff, was doing the PA announcing as usual at these championships, and they're all good. They still have a strong relationship. He doesn't see him as much anymore because he's not at practice, but I think it helped Jake's running, and it also made sure that they still have that father-son bond, and that didn't get frayed by the stress of professional running.
All right, let's talk about Kerr. I mean,
Kerr. Let's talk about Wightman a little more. He did get second place.
I mean, if he wins this, that's it's a great story to get second, but winning it using the same move he used in 2022 after missing the 2 championships, this really, I think this is probably his last shot at doing something. I don't know. He'd be 33 by 2027. Nick Willis medal when he was 33, so maybe. But no, it's really, really cool to see him go for that move. I mean, what a gutsy move he made. He made a gutsy move in 2022 to take it to Jakob Ingebrigtsen. And he did it again here because there was still a bunch of other guys, and he wasn't really gaining that much separation. So I'm just like, is he just going to totally run out of steam, or is he going to be able to hold this the last 100? And he held it. And the only reason he got beat is because Nader had a 12-3 up his sleeve, which I don't think anyone could have predicted. So, yeah, afterwards he was overjoyed. He's like, yeah, I ran. That was the perfect race. Jeff came down. He's like, you did it. You couldn't have done anything more. So he was really proud to get this silver. And, now he's got a gold and a silver medal. It's pretty impressive stuff. 5 straight medals for British athletes in this event. And it's Kerr with 3, Wightman with 2. They both ran for the same club, Edinburgh Athletics Club. That's a pretty neat story, too.
Neil Gorley's Scottish, too, right, John?
He is, yeah. Glasgow, though.
It's pretty amazing just how good those guys were. I mean, Wightman looked good in the rounds, and that was one thing he said afterwards. He's like, there was times, the circuit is so different. These guys just go out and blast these times, and he sort of wondered, he's like, am I done with this? And he said he was joking with Neil Gorley at one point, like, after they made the next round, he's like, well, I kind of wondered if I didn't make it, if that might have been it, and then I guess Gorley was sort of making fun of him. He's like, what, you just take off your spikes and like leave them on the track or something? But he's like, I started feeling like my old self going through these rounds. His interview with well, I guess we were all there after the race, I was about to say with John, was amazing. I want to play a clip from it.
I did everything I could. I was like saying to myself before, if it comes down to it, you've got to throw yourself here, and I even did that. And it's the only way I could have topped that is with the win, but there's nothing else I could have done. I literally did everything I possibly could, and the same story every year in the 15. Whoever goes in as the favourites always seems to have a bit too much of a target. So like, I don't think one person would have expected Nader to win that. And even myself coming to home straight, I felt good, and I thought I'd written my own perfect fairy tale. And when I look back on this, I would never have expected at the start of the season and how I was performing in July and August to come away with anything from these champs.
I was going to say, when you attacked Jakob 3 years.
Wow. Joseph Piru, thank you very much. Just with a $49 tip. Thank you for the content you guys put out. I've learned so much as the newer runner, listening to your insight and breakdowns throughout the year. Hoping to run a Boston qualifier in 5 weeks. Thank you, Joseph.
Hope to show you in Boston
right with
the
audio issue, he still gave us the tip. My apologies for that.
All right. Look, it was a great run for Wightman, and disappointing run for Kerr, but he got injured. It's part of the sport. But I'm going to say it, and I'm biased. I mean, we're spending thousands of dollars flying over here. We should show you all the room, show you the room we're sharing. But what?
These two playing footsie here. I don't know what that's over with. I mean, sometimes it does. Tensions run high because we got back from the track
I think
today.
he's about to rip someone for being injured. I just think it's a really bad take.
I'm not going to rip him for being injured. I'm going to rip him for not being a professional and coming through the mix
He's
zone.
injured, Robert. He's a severe calf injury. What do you want him to do? He went to the hospital probably.
He got a calf cramp. He didn't pull his Achilles. He didn't break his. He didn't pull an Achilles. Like I know in the modern age people don't need media, but then we shouldn't spend thousands of dollars and try to get insight from the pros if they're just going to only talk to us when things go well, and when things don't go well, they talk to the media. They don't talk to the media. I think it's unprofessional. Some sports require you to talk to the media.
Robert, not if you're injured, they don't have to.
This isn't a major injury. He was able to run another 800 meters.
You have no idea.
No idea. He easily could have blown out his calf muscle. Easily blown out his calf muscle and hobbled around.
What, he needs to have surgery immediately because he blew out his calf muscle?
No one's saying he needs to be rushed to surgery, but I'm sorry, if he tore his calf, you just want him to stand there on the calf, talking to the media saying, yeah, I got injured, ruined my race. I mean, I'm not going to rip the guy for not coming through the
I expect him to, if it was me, speak to the media, Or B, have the British people release an official statement, talk to him for a minute or two, and do it. They have all these media handlers that they act like their job is to take you through the mix zone and not have you talk to the media if something doesn't go well. When it's over, face the media. That's all I'm saying. I don't think it's too much to ask. And he's not the only one. Grant Holloway talks to us all the time when he's winning, doesn't go well, doesn't want to talk to us. I just feel like it's a part of professionalism. So
exactly, as David Minter says, he could not get up the steps to the media. And GJT11 says Rojo wants Kerr moving in a wheelchair through the mix zone.
I just think a degree of empathy.
Right.
Yeah. Put yourself in Kerr's
This
shoes,
I just could tell it's going to take. It's crazy. Someone clearly hasn't had any sleep.
It's just it's unbelievable how they try to if I say anything critical of someone, John and Weldon will hit me underneath the table and get mad. They feel like I'm supposed to be like, if you guys want jobs with Sidious Mag, go apply. But I'm going to keep it real and say the truth. Like, we're down there for a reason. There's thousands of journalists that want to talk to him. Instead, we'll get a curated thing on his YouTube channel in 2 weeks.
The reason we're critical a little bit is just you dive in face first without all the facts and full picture.
What do you mean the facts?
You don't know how severe the injury was. Grant Holloway, you don't know what he's dealing with. I would like him to speak to the media. I think that would be the professional thing to do. But I don't know if there's some off-track depression or what. I don't know what's going on with him. Okay.
Yeah, it's too much to ask. Hey guys, there's some stuff off the track that I can't get into. It's really so much. But thanks so much, Pete, for what you're doing.
I think that
we'll get you next time.
John, all these athletes, Grant Holloway is physically healthy, walk through the mix zone. They should teach them how to say something. That one's different. When they have an injury and are I assume wheeled off the track, I'm 100% didn't even expect to see him in there.
No, I think,
or I guess maybe 20% I thought he would come through.
Holloway, I think stopping and saying what Robert did, I think, yes, that should be the bare minimum.
True or false? Have we seen people come through the mix zone in a wheelchair and speak to the media? I have in my career.
Well, I can only remember Trayvon Bromell doing it, right? Or did he stop and talk? Who did you talk to in a wheelchair?
I've seen it happen. I don't remember.
At the Paralympics, John. No.
Yeah. No, I think in general, it would be nice to have some sort of explanation, but I can excuse injuries.
Right, and I don't fault injuries are part of the game. I feel like he's had an amazing season. He's great at peaking. I think Josh Kerr is an underrated 1500-meter runner. I thought he was extremely lethal. I thought he might have won this race, and it's disappointing that he got hurt, but it's part of the game. So I'm not going to criticize him that. I think Denny Mackey's an exceptional coach, and it's just disappointing. I did hear people speculating look, he was farther back. Was it bothering him before he got in the race? I don't know. He wasn't that far behind Nader. The race was just getting started. There were 600 meters to go in a tactical race, and he's got pretty good wheels. And we saw him at Grand Slam track kind of pull the move that Nader did before. If you watch the Grand Slam track Philly race, Kerr was way back coming off that final turn. Probably very similar to where Nader was, went way wide and just ran everybody down. So I would like to actually look at what was the Grand Slam track Philly thing here. But I believe the final, one thing I haven't said overall about this race was in terms of Laros is, look, it's hard to win these super tactical races. There's a randomness to it. And the all-time greats have gotten some help. Didn't Kip Keino get some help when he beat Jim Ryan? People were upset about that.
Yeah.
Rabbiting. El Garouche, Romy had some guy, Moroccan, sacrificial lamb. So it's extremely hard to do. And I believe, there's an interesting thread. If Cole Hocker was in it, he would have won it. Cole Hocker has a sick last 200. That doesn't mean that he necessarily has the sick last 800. Sometimes he falls too far back at 300 to go and can't make it up. And I believe I had the final 800, I think in 147. Right? It was a 147 final 800. If we can do the math.
How did Scott Strand not make this final? Because this race would have been perfect.
Scott Strand's 50 years old, so that's probably why. But
his son, Ethan Strand.
No, it is a good point. You look at that, okay, who are the guys who really were able to string together a few wins? El Garouche, but they set the race up for him a couple times. The 2000 Olympics, he wasn't able to do it. And then when he does win in 2004 without the help, it's by the barest of margins over Lagat. It's and this guy was the greatest of all time. Kiprop was winning he strung together a bunch. He had an unreal close, but he was also banned for EPO at the end of his career. And then really since Kiprop, we have not had a repeat winner. It's just very difficult to do.
When have we had someone lead fast and win?
Chariot.
He did it the whole way, or someone helped him?
No, Timothy Chariot soloed it in Doha 2019. That's one of the all-time great 1500 performances. Soloed at 329.
And that's literally probably the only time. And since,
I mean, you want to count like Philip Bailly set the world record in the Commonwealth Games, but
something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that just shows how hard it is. And that's sort of one thing we told the Larosos at the meetup. And I thought his parents have a great attitude. They're like, it's going so well, but they're like, we're trying just to enjoy it, just like last time, just have fun with it, keep perspective. And everyone there was like very encouraging. Like, it's pretty cool. Your son's like one of the best in the world. Like, no matter how it turns out, try to remember that. So
what does this mean for the 5K? Is Laros and Hocker going to be running with Ingrid?
Well, Laros was asked about it, and I'm not totally sure what he's going to be doing because he didn't really. He was like, I mean, I assume he will run the 5,000, but yeah, he didn't really want to talk about it right now. So I was like, does that mean he might not even run it? I do like Hocker because I think it's going to be slow because all these distance races have been slow, and we saw what he can do in a slow race at USA's. He closed in 51. He's going to be very hard to beat, but also if Nico Young doesn't move out at USA's, you're going to have a better field at the World Championships. It's going to be harder to maneuver. I mean, should we just look down the list and find like a random guy from Europe who's like run some pretty good times and might have a pretty good kick and pick him? Because that seems to be the method for picking some of these champions.
all right, guys, if you're just joining us, this is the Let'sRun.com Track Talk podcast.
Isaac Camelli, there we go.
I think highly of him. If you like this as a podcast, not have to watch it on YouTube, there's a link in the show notes, Let'sRun.com/subscribe. But also, while you're there, pound the like button, pound the subscribe button on YouTube. That helps us out. I'm also putting a link in the comments now. Someone's asking, WZ's asking, are his parents fit and tall? Yes, they're both fit. And
his dad's tall.
They're actually both, I think his mom's fairly tall for a woman, and his dad's fairly tall for a runner.
And they both ran in the States in college.
Both ran in States in the college. The article link is there right now. His brother runs in the United States right now. They're both Dutch. This is sort of crazy. They met in college at UTEP and then were both Dutch. Anyway, his dad has PBs of 8:21 in the steeplechase, 3:39 for 1,500. And his mom is 4:21 for 1,500 and 9:15 for 3,000 meters. And his older brother, Lars, goes to Wingate D2 school. Wonder what his PBs are. Somebody look them up. They were 3:48 and 14:04 last year.
And some people are saying George Mills is the prediction for the semi-random European who could win the 5K. I would think I was asked about this actually a week or two ago. He does have a 3:28 1,500 meter PB, but he doesn't strike me as having great wheels over the last 200. He's not a guy I would pick. I would be much more inclined to pick Camelli. And we saw him do it in Lausanne. That last 200 was ferocious. Mills, I think, is more of a strength guy. He's one of those double threshold guys. I'm not sure if he's got the
I agree with you
kick.
100%. I think it's like how Laros said it would be suicide to lead that race at a fast pace. I think if you're the guy who has to like push it out from a mile to go in the 5K, unless you're Jakob and just like, well, Jakob's faster than the 1,500. I mean, and fitter. So I think you can do it that way. Otherwise, it's impossible. It's suicide.
If Hocker and Laros are in it, it would be interesting to me. Is Jakob historically just sat and let them try to outkick him, but he's not in the 1,500 meter shape that Laros and Hocker are in. So it might be suicide. Maybe he ends up being the one. Maybe he ends up being what he's been in these 1,500 meter finals of, like the rabbit that helps out a Fisher or somebody like that. George Mills might push it. I think Fisher's screwed unless the pace is fast in terms of winning it. And again, the journalist who was saying he thought Laros was going to just be basically unbeatable in both events soon, but obviously was wrong today. He's just like, I don't see how no one pushes that pace anymore. The Africans don't work together anymore, and no one's good enough to push it. So unless you're pushing from like way far out, it's extremely hard to drop a Cole Hocker. He's running 720s lows for 3,000. This guy thought that Laros can run 720 lows. Now, Fisher did beat Hocker when in the 3,000 indoor world record race, but I agree. I think that if Hocker had not pushed the pace about 2,600 meters into it, going for the world record, I think he probably would have outkicked Fisher. So it's going to be fascinating. Look, the women's 5,000 is going to be a highlight. The men's 5,000 should be a highlight as well. And I think it's wonderful because sometimes the 5,000 to me has been like a letdown. It's like, okay, the 10K champion doesn't bother to come back. We've seen Cheptegei do that, I think, last year, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, come on, dude. Like you owe it to the fans to come back. Speaking of the fans, you know, we've had some nice crowds earlier in the weeks, a couple sellouts, I believe. Definitely not a sellout tonight. And I was stunned because we're obsessed with the men's 1,500. But the 1,500 being the last event, there was a sizable number of people pouring out of the stadium before the 1,500 to beat the crowd to the subways and metros and stuff like that. But still been a pretty well-attended world and excited. I'm feeling a number of people are ripping me about Kerr. I just like, I would like it if athletes who are not running other meets would meet with the media. Like, I guess, yes, I'm biased because it's my job, but it's like, otherwise it's a hell of a lot easier. My buddy's like, hey, I'm enjoying World's Great at home. It's very easy on the East Coast just to watch this before work and tell me you'll be in at 10, you'll work 10 to 6 or 10 to 7. It's a hell of a lot easier not to spend the money, not to fly out here. We'll just rely on somebody else's YouTube interview and analyze that. So,
Remember, they owe you nothing.
Okay, then we owe them nothing. Let's give them no coverage.
Well, okay, but the whole point of the website is to cover pro track. I mean, look, I think we have this expectation that we want all of them to talk to us because most of them do. But in some sports, you never talk to the athletes. Some in the NFL, you get to talk to certain players once a week, the big time players. But baseball, you talk to most of the players most of the days. But professional soccer, like in Europe, you rarely ever talk to the players. So it kind of varies. This is how it works in track. Yeah, I think it would be great if you have a bad race to come through the mix zone and say a couple of things about what exactly happened. But yeah, already covered that.
If you're medically injured, that's fine. All right.
And Robert, you seem to, you're always kind of crazed about like where people were born and all that sort of stuff. And just, this is 3 straight victories by non-African born men in the distance races. Like could African born athletes get shut out from the 5,000 and thus all the distance races on the track on the men's side? I'm not counting the 800 here. But we used to say, you had that whole article a couple of days ago, you mentioned when Gressier won, about how rare it was prior to Jakob for a non-African born man to win a global title at the World Championships. And now we've got non-African born athletes winning 3 or 4 and still the 5K to go.
No, it's a dramatic change. It's a dramatic change. If you're not familiar with it, again, 2023 article. At the World Championship starting in 1987, every single men's distance gold medal from 91, 93, 95, all the way up through 2019. And the first 2 of the 22 worlds were won by a man born in Africa. I think it was 64 championships in a row. And now Western-born athletes have been winning the majority, and so far have won all of them at the Worlds. So it is stunning. It's definitely a stunning turnabout. And, the women, obviously.
Nader is half Moroccan, but he was born in Portugal.
Okay. But the women, we're certainly not seeing that. And it's been African domination. And this was stunning. There was a visual, and I thought I made a funny comment, and you guys will probably criticize it because you don't like it if I'm.
Yes, let's switch to the women's steeplechase.
But this one started out fast from the gun. And I had sort of thrown out there, like, I know it's going to be hot, but Yavi, who'd won the last 2 global titles, Faith Cheritich, who'd gotten, I think, the last 2 bronze, Peruth Chimichai, 2021 Olympic champion, who's talked about getting the world record last year. These are some of the all-time greats. I'm like, I don't think they'll get the world record, but I think it's going down soon. I'm not ruling it out. And the first lap world record is 8:44. So if you run 70 seconds for a flat 3,000, that's 8:45. 70 would be about 8:47, 8:48. And this from lap to lap. And they ran the first 468. From finish to line, the finish line, it was 70.1. So that was like 8:48 pace. And it was pretty fast. But 600 meters into this race, I think actually John pointed out to me, it wasn't very PC of John, unlike him. He's like, wow, the 8 Africans in the race are way ahead, and the 7 non-Africans are in the way in the back. It was like,
well, I've never seen a race like that where literally, I mean, it was the Africans plus Yavi and Gerudo, who born in Kenya. But anyway,
African-born athletes.
Yeah, they were what the lead pack was them, and the chase pack was the non-African-born athletes. So I was just kind of distinct. You kind of noticed it.
And yeah, it was like racial segregation in the year 2025. 600, I mean, big gap. And the pace stayed honest. And they went 70 point. This is from finish line to finish line. 70.1, 70.86, 71.6, 71.8, 72.4. So at that point, I was kind of like, I don't think they're going to get the world record, because it was like 255. And then I believe it was, so 255 is right on it, pretty close. And then I think it was like 456. Is that right? So, you know, it wasn't off. And then they closed in 69.9 and 66.7. But it was a fast race. I was kind of thrown off by one of the post-race comments. I don't know if this was lost in the, you know, the meet publishes official post-race comments. And they quoted Faith Cheritich as saying, "I'm so happy to win today. Improving my bronze to gold is amazing. I was confused at the start because both me and Winfred Yavi are very strong." Anyways, the pace of the race was slow, but I believed in my kick. The pace of the race was not slow. In these conditions, it was extremely fast. And then there was like a ton of carnage on that last lap. So, in the last water jump, Gerudo went down, right? Took down.
Gerudo fell, and then Lemgale landed on her. Really nothing. That's just a really bad break for Lemgale. She landed on Gerudo. I don't think she would have got Sembo Almeo, who got the bronze medal, but you know, she ended up jogging across the line. She got pipped for 4th actually by Marwa Bouziani of Tunisia. Gerudo essentially stopped running before the line, and then I think she thought the blue line or something. She just seemed totally out of it. She jogged across the line. Chematai wiped out with 1K, didn't even finish the race. And even Yavi, who is the big kicker and had been the woman to beat recently, though Cheritich got her a couple times early in the season, she miscalculated because she ended up 5 seconds back of Cheritich. So I don't know if it was the conditions or the hot early pace, well, most likely combination of both of them. But the steeplechase is an event where, you know, you really have to manage your energy correctly, because if you get it wrong in the 5K or the 1500, yeah, you run the slow last lap, you end up like Grant Fisher. You get it wrong in the steeple, you're not making it over some of these barriers. So it's a lot harder to do that calculus, and especially in a hot race like this. You just saw a few women get it wrong tonight. Faith Cheritich was not one of them.
Did you guys see how young she looks? I guess officially she's 21. I believe it, man. Well, usually if you're a young Kenyan, if anything, your age is going to be, you'll be a few years older than it states. She looked very young. I mean, great race by her. The pace was so hot. I mean, I think it essentially did it. It did in what, 1, 2, 3 of the top, who should have been the top 5, or not did end, but you know, like Paris Chematai, before she went down with, I don't know, this like 2,000 meters in roughly, she clips the one hurdle and has been leading at this, you know, what was a world record pace the first 5K essentially. Pace slowed down a little bit the second K. And then, you know, gives up the lead in the backstretch and then doesn't make it over that hurdle and is down and out of the race. So
Another comment here, not on the steeple, but Brian Way says, what happened to an American could win every event? If you count simply finishing as a win, then we have a few. I mean, this has been a terrible meet so far for the U.S. distance men.
What was her over-under for medals?
I think I said 1.5, maybe 2.5. I might have said it at because it went so well last year. But shutout in the 10K, best finish was 5th place.
So expected one.
Shutout in the steeple, 9th place with Mahalski.
And
shutout in the 1500 after taking 2 medals last year, 1 finalist, 13th place, and the only guy he beat got injured and ran 4:11. So,
and we got a tough break with Hocker not making the final. I think he would have. But what we've never, I mean,
I would love to see Hocker in this type of race because you don't see.
And I'd like to see Strand too, but Strand is not a 143 guy like the top two. So it's really
Strand would have been exposed, I think, in this race.
It's actually a miracle. Reynold Chariot somehow got the bronze medal. His PB is only 147. So, I mean, it defies all logic, right?
No, he's got a good kick.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, there's sarcasm. I'm sorry if it wasn't strong enough.
I guess Strand has a good kick. I still think Strand. We learned anything, maybe it was a long season, but also I think he showed right now he's a level below these guys. The best in the world.
I mean,
with 3 Americans.
Speaking of long season, how about a shout out to the top American in this women's steeplechase? Angelina Napoleon of NC State. Yeah. What happened to my results here?
She was 9th. She was the top American.
But she ran 9:17. And it's amazing to me. This is a sophomore at NC State. Caitlin Tuohy has never competed on the stage. She's just 20 years of age. And remember back at NCAAs, like we thought it was amazing that she ran a big PB. Her PB heading into NCAAs was 9:29. And we're like, this girl runs 9:16. We're like, wow, that's amazing. So like that seemed like way big overachievement. 6 days later, she went over to Paris and ran a 9:10 PB. Comes back at USA's, which was like 6 weeks later, runs another 9:10 to make the team and get second, and then backs it up today in hot and humid conditions, runs 9:17. So she's running basically the same time she did at NCAAs at the beginning of the season. And, let's run men's, the top American men's steeplechaser this year at Worlds, Dan Michalski. We had lunch with him yesterday. Randomly had lunch with his parents today. We have a small world in Tokyo. We're at this burger joint, and these people recognize John's big curly head over here, and they're like, "Excuse me, are you Jonathan Galt? We're Dan Michalski's parents." And it was fun to meet them. But Dan and the parents came to the Let's Run meetup in Tokyo at the beer garden, and I was talking about the women's steeple and blah blah blah. And Dan's like, "Oh, Napoleon, she's amazing. She's got so much energy." And she's like, I'm like, it's been a long season. He's like, dude, she just seems like excited. Like she's talking about like how she's doing like cross country workouts while like preparing for Worlds still. So kudos to her. Like it would be, if I had a daughter, it would be extremely hard, and she was a great runner, not to send her to NC State, because I feel like Lori Hennis does just a wonderful job with those girls. I mean, they've had the dynasty going, but to keep someone motivated, excited, and running so well. I mean, it's September. Oh, it's 18th here now. It's 17th for everyone back in the States. Incredible season for her. And then the other Americans, Kaylee Mitchell was 1 spot behind 9:18 of the Bowerman Track Club, and Lexi Holiday Lowry was, I guess, the last finisher. Chimitai did not finish 9:34.
All right. I mean, women's events, in contrast to the men, and maybe it's just the gap is a lot bigger between the best women and, there's not as much parity, because Chibet, everyone would have predicted her to win the 10K. Kipyegon, everyone would have predicted her to win the 15. And Cheritich probably second most likely. So that's what qualifies as an upset so far. And then the 5K, well, we'll see, but I'd be stunned if it's not one of Chibet or Kipyegon.
Right. Whereas, I mean, I was thinking about this. Like, so far on the men's side, well, I bet we could find this out. Have you had anyone that was one of the top 10 betting favorites winning a global title so far? I would be shocked if Jimmy Gressier was one of the top 10. Certainly no one in the top 5. I'd be shocked. There's no way Isaac Nader was one of the top 10, I wouldn't think, even though he's got the second fastest time. And then certainly not for, I wouldn't think Beamish either. So that's just pretty amazing. You know, I was thinking about writing an article, like long shots are winning every distance event on the men's side. And you don't normally see that on the sprints. It's a little bit more predictable, but we're in terms of the sprints. I mean, we saw it last night. There were some surprising results in the men's 400. Like we had Botswana just bossing out pretty much.
Yeah, Jacori Patterson, who was completely on fire, the world leader, the Diamond League champion, crushing people in races, needed a time qualifier to make the final. He was only 4th in his semi. Whereas we had three Botswana make the final, including, I'm going to have to get his name correct because it's quite long and there's a lot of letters in it.
Well, in the chat here, all the games saying Colleen Kibenatibichi, but on the official results, it says Buseng Colleen Kibenatibichi. I guess he's 21 years of age. I mean, this guy blasted
a 43.61.
He looked amazing. But the crazy thing is, like, so this essentially was like flipped from the prelims, because in the prelims,
Patterson was the one who looked great. He ran 43.9.
Patterson was in the same heat. These guys were in the same heat number 3 in the prelims. Patterson destroys him. This guy was 4th in his heat in the first round, runs 44.48, and now in the semifinal, he's 21. He drops at 43.60 and looks phenomenal.
And so we need a time qualifier to get out of the first heat?
Yeah. Like, I don't know how you do that in a day, but like, it's game on in the 4x4, right? Would you guys admit?
Oh, I would have Botswana favored right now. But you got to be careful with like these 400s. Okay, so was Patterson wiped from the first round? And does that mean he might be a little better suited for the final? Because I mean, you know, he's digging for that time qualifier. I don't think he was letting up too much. But I guess I'm thinking Cabernet Chipi, you know, running 43.6. I've seen guys blast semifinals at Worlds in the 400 and then just have nothing left in the final. So, you know, he might not run faster than that. Like 43.6 might be plenty enough to win the gold in this 400. And I wouldn't be shocked if he's like back to what he was. Well, 44.4, maybe not. But yeah, it's just, it can be a hard event to get it right.
And then could we see, if we're going to keep up the theme of men's upsets, this would be the biggest one of all to me. Men's 400 hurdles. I mean, this has been dominated by 3 men, Warholm, Benjamin, and Dos Santos. And today, Warholm, only the 4th fastest time of the day. And he did not win his heat. He got beat late in his heat. Benjamin, only the 7th fastest time of the day. He actually did win his heat, right?
Yeah, he looked very comfortable.
And Dos Santos had the slowest time of the day. And it's just a little bit surprising what's going on there. And will the lane draws impact anything? Because of that, you're going to have Warholm in lane 4, Rai Benjamin's in lane 7, and Dos Santos is going to be running blind in lane 9. And Warholm, he had an interesting quote that I saw.
No, these other guys are going to get smoked, though, Robert. Like, the top 3, I guarantee you one of the top 3 wins it. Like, what do you want to bet? These guys are running 47 seconds for these guys. These guys, what's the top time today? 47.
It's not today's time.
47.63 is the top time. Warholm's run 46.2 this year. Benjamin 46.5. Like, these other guys are going all out. These Warholm and Benjamin and Dos Santos had to make up a lot of ground because he's in the same heat as
47.47 was actually the fastest by Ezekiel and Nathaniel. But I do agree with you, Weldon. I know that Warholm, Benjamin, and the Santos would be the one I'd be more concerned with. But I know Warholm and Benjamin have got a 46 low in them in the final.
That's
I
fair,
don't know
and then
the
maybe
others.
these guys are being smart because the hurdles, you're worried about yourself, your rhythm, and maybe they realize, hey, I don't want to go hard in the semi. I got one effort 100%, and I'm not going 98%. So I want it all in the one shot. And because Warholm said today, running today was very nice because I had control. I got the answers I was looking for. But this is interesting to me. It's nice. It's nice to see that there's pace there as well. I still haven't decided if I'm going to watch the races of Alisson Dos Santos and Rai Benjamin. I'm looking forward to the run on Friday. So he clearly thinks it's only a 3-person race and is focused on them and probably didn't care that he was passed at the end of his heat. But, it's just putting it out there. And then we saw the contrast in the 400s. So, yeah, I mean, I was like, wow, I didn't realize that what happened in the first round. Patterson looked great and then not so great today. We shall see. We shall see.
The 400 yesterday.
All right, people. What else do you want us to talk about? I think we've covered today's action.
Can I get started on this 1500 recap and you guys take us home? I do have a media race tomorrow morning, so I'm going to write something. I'll trust you guys to.
I'm definitely not doing media race. I think I'm going on a day trip tomorrow, guys. Anyone want to put in the comments where I should go? Up to 6 hours. Someone let me know where I need to go. 2 hours by train, 2 hours there, 2 hours back. We're right near Shinjuku Station. You got any comments? Let us know.
So
hit like and put like and follow in the comments. What else do I know? Oh, people were complaining about a paywall on Let's Run articles. I implemented this thing last night. I was very proud of myself. Well, you guys listening to this are Supporters Club members, so it doesn't affect you. If you're not, you just give us your email or follow us, and you get the article. It's not a real paywall. It's a soft paywall, people.
But tomorrow we're going to have the women's 5,000 heats. Shelby Houlihan's return to the World Championships. The women's 800 is going to get underway. We're going to have the men's and women's 200 semis, as well as the men's 800 semis. Oh, interesting development there. So we had originally, and we started a thread on this, it was going to be the heat of death. Heat 1 was going to have all of the Olympic finalists all of the Olympic medalists from last year. But with no explanation that I've seen, today Emmanuel Wanyoni was just taken out of that heat and moved into another heat. So did they make a mistake and get him in there in the first place? What's going on? Kind of interesting. And then we're going to end the night with, that men's 400 final, which we're talking about. Patterson's going to be out of lane 3. 2 Botswana guys are going to be in 4 and 5. Another Botswana guy in lane 8. Japan will have a guy in there in lane 9. And then what will we see from Sydney in the women's 400 hurdles? I think the betting markets have overreacted. She looked amazing, but Paulina has been known to drop her time in the final. But she's like a minus 2,000 favorite, which is like a 95% favorite. But as good as she looked in the prelims, could she break 48? Should we ever be doubted if she breaks a world record in a global final, even if it was a drug-induced world record? That seems like a tall order. But the magical assassin of a performer, Sydney McLaughlin-Ravoni, will be in the final tomorrow. So the men's 1500 is over. Just like we all been predicting all summer long. Isaac Nader, your champion. Jake Wightman, second.
Well, he was never even mentioned, right, as a possible winner, right? Nobody mentioned him. I guess we should have probably role-played the idea of somehow Jakob or Yared aren't in the final. What happens then? But we haven't had a race this slow in 8 years, 8 worlds. Or 8 years, not 8 worlds. But I'm curious. Anyone in the comments now or email us? You can call us 1-844-LETS-RUN. Oh, wait a second. Somehow we got to play this. We did receive a voicemail from the one and only fake Josh Kerr. It came in right before the final. We've not heard from the fake Josh Kerr in maybe a year. Maybe since last year's Worlds. I'm going to try to pull this up here. I'm just stalling for time. Check out some comments. But related to the 800 semi being changed. Like, if somebody said, like, there should be a system to do this. If heat placement is not done according to specific system, it's pure corruption. Like, what you just
Well, there's a system.
well,
There's
then,
rules.
but a computer doesn't spit out the wrong system. You don't like the results, so then you redo it. Like, this seems like
we need to get an explanation for this.
I mean, somebody, or unless human beings were doing it, and like, you put this seed here or whatever, and did it wrong somehow. We do need an explanation. We got to play this voicemail though. Robert, keep talking, keep stalling, please. Oh, we're losing Robert, guys.
It's not that hard. Just hit play.
I'm going to play a tab. Okay, I'll share this tab. Hopefully this works. Hopefully we can hear it too. Let's see here. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Although they'll be able to see his, hope they can't see his phone number. I can see his phone number.
Okay, join the supporters club. If you join the supporters club, you'll get it on the podcast.
Yeah, right. Supporters club members, it's coming up here. Here he is, the one and only fake Josh Kerr. Hopefully the real Josh Kerr gets back to being healthy. Isaac Nader, we tip our caps to you. Niels, Laros, keep your head up high. We didn't even mention Jonah Koch. I had people at the supporters club meetup were, some of them are really singing the praises of Jonah Koch, but at some point being injured for the last, 3 months?
I don't know how anyone could have watched the semifinal and thought he had any shot in this race. All right. Enjoy the fake Josh Kerr, supporters club members, other live listeners.
Hit like, hit subscribe, and thank you for the tips.
Sorry for blocking everyone here.
Oh, there goes John, sneaking into his bedroom.
Good night.